Hey,
How are you both doing?
good. How are you?
All right. I guess they're already recording it, so I don't have
Yeah, so just before we get started, you'll have 10 minutes. If you could just leave your chat box open so I can give you time cues, that would be great. And we're recording on our end and we'll send it to you after the jump is over.
Cool.
Thank you.
So how did you come up with the idea for the series?
We really wanted to do a series that was centered around a teenage girl, but in like a way that we hadn't seen, kind of like a mother-daughter duo where it's not kind of like all warm and fuzzy. It's not like all about like personal growth and, learning and, like this like bedrock of knowing, that like you've got each other. We really wanted to kind of like subvert all of that, and show like mother-daughter dynamic where sort of like the growth and learning doesn't happen. So that's kind of where the seed of Trophy and Annie began.
Yeah, I read another interview that one of you did where you said you were a fan of Gilmore Girls and wanted to do something like that. But
yeah, in my house, that's the closest we have to the Bible is Gilmore Girls. I have two daughters that watch it religiously, and it's usually on. And just watching it, we started this show in 2016, so it was a long time ago. Just watching it so much. Right. And sort of really appreciating what they were doing with it. I didn't watch it when it had been on, but just feeling like, oh, this is great. But like Lorelai is like the best mother ever. And the idea of like a teen mother being, and then Rory is like, just a dream. So just the idea of sort of taking a teen mother that had abandoned the baby instead of keeping the baby and turning it, child that goes to Yale, just sort of taking that and turning it. And then, Alyssa's from Florida and setting the whole thing there. And, but yeah, I love the Gilmore Girls and I think it's so funny and, it's just a great show, but it's not, we sort of wanted to talk about other stuff, but it was a good, like spark of like, women.
I think the closest I could think of would be like Peg Bundy and Married with Children, except that her daughter was similar to this, like Peg Bundy if she had a nerdy daughter.
Right. Yeah. We love the kind of bullying, partying mother to like a nerdier, quieter daughter. And then Baba, the grandmother, just as like, because that's the other thing Gilmore Girls does quite well is the three. Right. And that also was really interesting to us as well, as sort of having three generations.
Yeah, Trophy kind of makes Peg Bundy look like June Cleaver, in some ways. Yeah, she's a real spitfire.
And we did also want to lean into that, like sort of like a bimbo core or whatever, just sort of an appreciation of a woman like that like was written by women that didn't like, there's still like humanity to it and I don't know, just like trying to get into the head of somebody like that, which, is kind of natural for us to do, but like, I felt like it hadn't totally been done, something like that.
So have either of you actually lived in Florida?
Yes, I grew up there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So you're the authority for the two of you.
Well, yeah, there are many different Floridas, but yes, I certainly have a fondness for the wildness and the extreme possibility in the Florida I came from.
Were you in the northern or southern part of Florida? Or
I was in Central, which is both the strip club capital, I think, of the United States per capita, which is kind of impressive, when you think about like places like Vegas and stuff. Tampa, for the area had more, and also oddly heavy metal, was a big export.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a big state. People don't really realize that how different. I used to live in Georgia and we drove down through Florida. It's like, it doesn't really feel like Florida for quite a while. It's just looks and feels like Georgia. So
sure on our show that they never show the ocean. We've actually
Yeah.
had to take it out of backgrounds and we're like,
How
no,
funny.
because our show is inland. There's no beach,
Yeah.
there's no ocean. They've never seen the sea. So, that's not where the show takes place.
So the studio is based in New York, but are you both based there?
No,
I'm
I'm in
in
New York
LA.
and Alyssa's in LA. And actually this
Oh.
season, their show was animated in Ottawa, Canada.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, yeah.
And did you get lots of positive feedback from the fans after the first season?
Yeah, people did. I think we
Yeah.
spoke to a certain kind of, troubled teen or, people who feel a little outside of like mainstream or, comedy. And I think we're, starting to hopefully find our people and connect more.
And what can you tell us about what's going on in the second season?
Well, a lot is going on. There's some viral butt legging videos, and Pete tries his hand as directing. He coaches a little league baseball team that Annie tries to join. He discovers foreskin. He didn't know about foreskin, so that's a really big deal for Pete. Trophy and Annie get kidnapped by a chesty mad woman named Jigsaw, who puts them through some Saw movie franchise style tests. There's a mobster limousine that replaces the hearse at one point. A lot goes on. The hologram teachers go on strike, so the entire fantasy family gets conscripted to teach high school.
That's great.
The usual.
You have a lot of great actors working for you in the first season. Do you have any new ones that you can talk about in the second season?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We, had sort of a dream list going in, and really most of the people came back. From it's Kieran Culkin and Jay Smith Cameron are both in the show this year. Ben Platt, Janelle James, Noel Fielding, Sophia Bush, Carrie Coon. I mean, it's really just a Paul Giamatti again. But yeah, no, it's like a huge list of really funny and really interesting people. And we tried to sort of go outside the usual suspects. A lot of the actors like hadn't done animated voices before, or
Wow.
Maybe had just done it a little bit. So I think to me that is kind of important, is to like find people that I haven't heard in every show, and or just people who were watching and start to really like as we're writing, or start to think like, oh, I want this person to be in the show, like what's going to be the part for them. It goes a lot of different ways, but it's a really fun, it's the funnest part of the show.
Yeah, I bet.
Cool.
And you have 10 episodes this season as opposed to 7 last season. That's really great. And do you have season 3 already planned out in your head or on paper? Or
We have a lot of ideas for season 3. Yes.
that's great.
We're really hoping to do one, and we could do season through season 10. We have like there's endless amounts of things that we think of for this show. It's very easy to write.
And one more question. What were your comedy influences growing up?
An interesting one.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like the earliest was like Kurt Vonnegut is a really big one for me. I actually got to see him speak when I was in college, but I read all those books over and over again. And I think just that whole kind of like self-aware and very satirical writing is just really appealing. And I don't know, that was probably the earliest thing that I was like, oh, this is really funny. And like, I'm going to keep this with me kind of thing.
Yeah, we had like really limited TV, so I could only watch Saturday Night Live at friends' houses. But when I was like a really, really, young kid, like staying up late, like and seeing some of those skits and some of the Strangers with Candy skits, I remember being really, formative. And I mean, The Simpsons, really was kind of like, I think the first time with animation, I just felt like these are like really like smart jokes. Even like as a child, I could feel sort of like that level up. So that was obviously really formative.
So I'll put you on the spot, which SNL people are you talking about? What was your SNL years?
Oh, well, yeah, mine was like the Chris Farley, Will Ferrell, Sherry O'Terry, Tim Meadows, like that was my, my SNL growing up. But also then once like I knew about it, I remember being obsessed with like Gilda Radner's like Soup Man, I just couldn't believe it. I just remember, finding and being like, oh my gosh, she put soup in her nose. Like that was I like that really opened a trapdoor in my brain of just like things can happen that I never dreamed of.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you talking to me today.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh yeah, and I hope it's a big success and you get those season 3 ideas going.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Let's see, I can move this.